Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok na panahon, magkahatid sa kahit diskusyon, sama-sama tayo. Kahit magkalayo, sa programang ito, tiyak ang pagkatuto.
Panginoon Diyos, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ibinigay ninyo sa aming lahat upang makapag-aral sa gitna ng pandemya. Salamat po sa pagbibigay ninyo sa amin ng mga taong matyagang hinuhubog ang aming isipan sa araw-araw. Gabayan ninyo po kami upang maunawaan ang mga aral na ibinibigay sa amin ng aming tagapagturo. Bigyan ninyo po kami ng talas ng isip upang matalos ang mga bagay na kailangan naming malaman. Gabayan naman po ninyo ang aming guro upang maibigay niya ng lubusan ang mga paliwanag na aming kakailanganin. Sa harap po ninyo at sa inyong bugtong na anak, inaalay po namin ang araw na ito. Amen.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok.
Magandang araw sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig sa ika-11 baitang. Ito ang Teleradyo Marcelo, ang telearalan ng bawat Delpilarian. Ako nga pala ang inyong lingkod, Minibining Bernadette S. Calonzo, mula sa Marcelo H. Delpilar National High School. Handa na ba ang lahat? Siguraduhing naisagawa na ang inyong iba't ibang ritual dahil sa ilang sandali lamang magsisimula na ang ating talakayan. Mag-inat-inat na kayo dahil heto na ang isang panibagong araw na puno ng pagkatuto. Magandang araw sa ating mga masisipag na binata at dalaga. Narito na si Ginoong Frederick John A. Macale upang samahan kayo sa hagdan ng pagkatuto sa asignaturang Disciplines and Ideas in Social Science o DISS. Aasahan kong pagkatapos ng leksyon ay kaya ninyo nang gawin ang ipinapagawa ng ating guro. Huwag na nating patagalin pa, narito si Ginoong Macale upang tayo'y magsimula.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok na panahon, magkahatid sa kakibat ay diskusyon, sama-sama tayo. Kahit magkalayo, sa programang ito, tiyak ang pagkatuto. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo.
Kamusta? Ako si Frederick Macale at inaanyahan ko kayong magdiskurso. Particularly, magdiskurso tayo sa tanong ng kung sino tayo. Pero actually, this will be just a humble attempt at definition. Kasi who will be able to define a people if we cannot even define an individual? How much more a nation of 100 million people? Our attempt at definition will start with an article written by a pastor named Ed Lapis. The title of the article is Why the Filipino is Special. He outlined general characteristics of the Filipino as a people. So we will start. First, he said that the Filipinos are a touching people. and it is reflected in our vocabulary. We have words like akbay, hawak, kalabit, yakap, himas, kalong, at iba pa. We love to be near each other. We love to be with each other. Kaya nga, di ba, ang hirap magpa-exam for teachers? Kasi we always have to say one seat apart. Parang it is not the default na magkakalayo tayo in a classroom setting. Second, he said that the Filipinos are linguists. We speak 180 plus languages. This is one of the most diverse in the world. Who knows how many thousands of dialects are spoken all over the archipelago? Sabi nga, no, the average Filipino can speak 2 or more languages. We naturally speak more than 1 languages. Among the Tagalogs, it would be English and the vernacular, which is Tagalog. But for other ethno-linguistic groups, it would be 3 or more. Their vernacular, for example, a Cebuano would speak Cebuano, English, they can speak English, and the lingua franca, Tagalog or Filipino. We are very good at making new words. Give me a word, may it be English, like the word print, the Filipino can derive dozens of new words. Starting from, for example, prinint, piniprint, piprint, paprint, piniprintan, paprintan, papaprint, papaprintan, printan, prinintan, naprintan, etc. See, just a single word, pero we can derive dozens of words out of it, even if it is an English word. Pastor Ed Lapis also said that our languages are relatively not sexist. In Spanish, for example, they would say maestro when referring to a male teacher, and maestra when referring to a feminine one. But in Tagalog, we would say guro. And what is guro? It refers to both male and female teacher. Other examples would be asawa, anak, magulang, kapatid, manugang, biyanan, manggagamot, bayani. All those words referring to both male and female, or maybe to the point na dinidisregard na niya yung gender. Moreover, Ed Lapis said that the Filipinos are groupies. In a study conducted by Ateneo with the then CHED chairperson Patricia Licuanan, they said that an average Filipino would have known at least 300 relatives. We would have known hundreds of relatives. Kasi di ba, our families are extended. Most of the time, we live in extended families. So, we have our nanay, our tatay, our kapatid, our kuya, our ate, our bunso. Pero we also have our lola, our lolo. We have our ingkong, impong, apo. We have our apo sa tuhod, apo sa bukong-bukong. We have pinsan, pinsan makalawa, pinsan makatatlo. Pag meron tayong kaapelido, malayong kamag-anak. Yung aso natin, yung pets natin, we consider part of the family. Tapos pagkakaklusan natin yung isang tao, we would say, para ka ng naming kamag-anak, you're part of the family. Tapos yung tawag pa natin kay kuyang driver, kuya. Tapos si ate, yung kasambahay natin, ang tawag natin tita, tito. Di naman natin kamag-anak. So we live in a world na inclusive. Kaya nga siguro masasabi that we are really groupies. So right now, we will pause for a break. We will have an infomercial and we will be back after. Thank you.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo.
Filipino would have and know at least 300 relatives, according to a study led by Patricia Licuanan. One would be greatly hurt if considered, for example, pamasak butas. We have that term, di ba, yung rebound, pamasak butas. Or a mere second choice as a companion. Or if we are made to feel out of place or OP, isn't that hurting? In our childhood games, we would even consider a saling pusa or saling kit. Sabi nila wala daw translation yan in other languages. the younger kids and make them join the games even if they still do not know the rules of the play. It reminds me of a realization that our games are made to be played with a kalaro rather than be played alone. Who among you can enumerate or can give games that Filipino games that can be played alone or that are originally intended to be played alone? For example, in the West, they have solitaire. Pero do we have such games? All our games are meant to be played with a kalaro. And actually, the kalaro, the concept of kalaro, or the person we call kalaro is more important than the laruan, or even the laro itself. Who already experienced, for example, waiting for a ride, and you are in a group. A jeepney will come by but cannot accommodate everyone for a ride. What would you do? We either not get in if there's one or two na may iwan, or everyone will get by and sabi nga, magkandung-kandungan na lamang tayo, no matter how masikip the jeepney will be. Okay, now we go to the fourth. Pastor Ed Lapis said that Filipinos are weavers. We are weavers literally and figuratively. Literally kasi we have traditions as reflected in words like habi, referring to mat weaving, or lala, to basket weaving, and tahi for clothing or textiles. Almost all ethno-linguistic groups have their own habi, and they are proud of it. They are colorful and meaningful, dedicated to different occasion. Metaphorically or figuratively, we love to weave theirs into ours. We call people other than ourselves kapwa. It would be pejorative to call them iba. Pero that is how we usually call people, for example, in English. Other people, we call them other. Pero sa Tagalog, pag sinabihan kang others, masakit. As we usually say, para kang others to people who distance themselves or oneself from us. By default, we are all kapwa. You are all kapwa. May you be hindi ibang tao or ibang tao to me. There are many words referring to pakikipagkapwa with meanings of varying degrees of interaction. This is revealed from a research conducted by psychologists in UP. From the superficial pakikitungo to being one with another as we do pakikiisa. Diba? According to the proponent of Psikolohiyang Pilipino, Dr. Virgilio Enriquez, we have words for pakikipagkapwa, and it comes at varying degrees. From the simple, superficial pakikitungo or civility, up to the pakikisalamuha, pakikilahok, pakikibagay, pakikisama, pakipagpalagayang loob, pakikisangkot, at pakikiisa. The highest of all ay yung pakikiisa. From the word isa or one, we are not anymore two or three or four, we are one. Pero actually, yung 2, 4, 6, 8 na yan, na antas ng pakikipagkapwa, the first 5, ginagamit natin to those people who are not very close to us. Ang tawag natin sa kanila, it or ibang tao. Pero, yung last 3, we reserve to those people that we are close with. Tawag natin sa kanila, hindi ibang tao. Our relationships, we oftentimes label, and actually, I would say, lahat ng relationship natin, we label with words starting with a profound prefix ka. So, halimbawa, ng mga words na to are kasama, kaisa, kapanalig, kapatid, kaibigan, katrabaho, kaklase, ka-teacher, kaguro, ka-union, katabi, kasakay, ano pa ba? Kasintahan, and many other words, even kalaguyo or kabit. So, see, the word ka is very special. It doesn't only refer to relationships. It refers to egalitarian relationships. Kasi pag sinabi mong, pag merong ka, yung certain words, it means na pantay yung relationship. Kaya pag sinabi mong katulong, ibig sabihin, tumutulong ka din. Tumutulong siya, tumutulong ka, katulong. Pag sinabi mong kasama, ibig sabihin, kasama ka, kasama siya, kasama. So it refers to a relationship na equal and reciprocal. Moreover, the article also said that Filipinos are adventurers. if you will go back to history, our ancestors, the Austronesians, were seafarers. They sailed vast oceans 3,000 years ago from southern China to Formosa to the Philippines to Malaysia to Indonesia as far as Madagascar in Africa and to the Pacific Islands including New Zealand, Hawaii, and the farthest would be Easter Island or Rapa Nui. Up to this day, or if you happen to love or watch Moana, watch it kasi Moana tells the story of a people that are related to us. The people in the Pacific are actually, according to the dominant theory of migration, came to the Philippines before coming to the Pacific Islands. Up to this day, with pain I say, and we don't want to romanticize about it, we have the world's most number of people in diaspora, either as migrants or overseas workers. In our vocabulary, we have words like nangibang bayan and balikbayan, which describes the diaspora and the journey we embark on as we go back home. We have, for example, the artifact called balikbayan box. Di ba natatandaan natin nung sabi, lalagyan daw ng tax yung balikbayan box, maraming nagalit. Kasi the balikbayan box is a sacred artifact. Hindi lang siya simpleng mga bagay na ipinapadala sa Pilipinas or sa mga kamag-anak sa Pilipinas. Laman nito yung pagmamahal, pag-alala ng mga kamag-anak na matagal na nawalay sa kanilang pamilya. So, I would say that the balikbayan box is a contemporary cultural icon na an icon na very close to our hearts, sometimes with what? Merong how do you call that? Imagine yung mga Filipino kids pag may dumating na balikbayan boxes, how do they feel? Imagine the excitement. And try to imagine yung nagpapak nung balikbayan boxes before sending it to the Philippines. Imagine the emotions being packed with the pasalubong. Second, as we continue, Pastor Ed Lapis would say that Filipinos have pakiramdam. Maramdamin tayo, no? Kaya nga titingnan ninyo, napakarami nating words for galit. Galit at every level. Pagka galit-galitan ka lang, sabi mo, inis, pikon, asar, pero pag galit na galit ka na, suklam, puot, words like that, In a class activity I did 3 years ago sa mga YUM students, pinag-enumerate ko sila ng mga words referring to galit. And we were able to enumerate 33 words. Hindi naman siguro nangangahulugan nito na mga Pilipino magagalitin. Baka pinapakita lang nito na mga Pilipino maramdamin. Maramdamin or naapektuhan tayo nung ginagawa ng iba and we express it to them. Tapos we have words like tampo and sumpong. Diba? Yung tampo is, mahirap i-translate yung word na tampo. Kasi yung tampo, ano ba ang tampo? Ang tampo ay isang pakiramdam na you express towards people na kaklose mo. Di ka pwede magtampo sa jeepney driver kasi hindi tinanggap yung bayad mo. So, yung pagtatampo is something we reserve to those people na close sa atin. It would mean what? Kasi, according to my analysis, Filipinos, not to put it in a general way, pero Filipinos, most of us, nagtatampo kasi we love to test yung relationship natin with other people. Diba? Katulad ng sumpong, diba pag nagtampo ka at hindi ka sinuyo, nako, di na kayo friends. Nagtatampo ka tapos hindi ka pinapansin. Nagtatampo ka tapos hindi nila nararamdaman, nagtatampo ka. Ibig sabihin nun, hindi mo sila friends. So, di ba yung katambal nito, yung konsepto na ang tawag ay suyo. Tapos we have also sumpong. Yung sumpong is walang kadahi-dahilan, nagbabago ang ugali. Nagbabago ang pakikitungo. Pero nagsusumpong lang tayo sa mga taong naiintindihan tayo. Yung sasabihin na, sinusumpong lang yan. Sige, palampasin na natin. Shoutout daw po, sabi ni Ma'am Makale, kay Jo. Ayan. Okay. We proceed. We proceed to the next. Filipinos are, for example, pakiramdam. Sabi nga natin, mga Pilipinos ay marunong makiramdam. Subukan mo makipag-usap sa isang Pilipino, for example. Hoy, inano mo na ba yung Kinuhan mo na ba yung kuwan? We don't just listen to the words. We also listen at what the person is trying to tell us beyond the words. Pag hindi ka marunong makiramdam, hindi mo maiintindihan yung inano mo na ba yung o kinuwan mo na ba yung Or hindi mo maiintindihan yung pagtaas ng kilay or pagbaba ng boses o pagtinis ng boses. So it takes a lot of pakiramdam to be a Filipino. Just try to imagine being called manhid. It will be one of the worst labels a Filipino can take. A Filipino can give to another person. Pag sinabihan kang manhid, ibig sabihin wala kang pakiramdam. Or try to analyze, for example, yung konsepto ng Filipino time. And you would realize that it is not simply being late, but being equipped with pakiramdam. Kasi pati sa oras, nakikiramdam tayo. Diba the reason we come late is nakikiramdam tayo? That's why we say, wala pa yung mga yon, wala pa sila, tsak ko yan, nararamdaman ko, wala pa yung mga yan. Kaya wag muna tayong umalis. Kaya what happens is, lahat tayo, late na makakaalis. Okay, next. Filipinos daw are spiritual. When I say spiritual, or we say na Filipinos live in a world of the seen and the unseen. And oftentimes, magkadugtong yung mundo ng di nakikita at nakikita. Who have not felt the supernatural, for example, who have not experienced yung kaba or kutob. Di ba sa mga babae or even sa mga lalaki, parang wala namang ebidensya pero may kutob, merong hunch. Or who have not said, for example, tabi-tabi po, kapag maglalakad sa damuhan o sa kahuyan. To whom do we refer our excuse? Tabi-tabi po. Tabi-tabi to whom? Maybe to the duwende or the nuno sa punso or the myriad of lamang lupa that exists or coexist with us. Next, Filipinos daw are timeless. When we say timeless, di ba pag tinanong natin yung isang Pilipino, again, I'm trying not to generalize, pero most of us ganun, Pag tinanong natin isang Pilipino, kailan ka aalis? Kailan ka aalis? What would you answer? Alas 12, alauna, alas 2? Hindi. You would answer, mamaya-maya, or bukas, or sandali na lang, or matagal pa, rather than the exact mechanical and numerical time. Who among us, for example, can translate the word time in Filipino? They would say oras, but oras is Spanish. We only say panahon or sandali. But panahon and sandali are not exact. They are never exact. Who can translate the word hours, minutes, and seconds into Filipino? Maybe no one, Kasi that concept of numerical, mechanical, and exact time is foreign to us. Next, we proceed. Filipinos are spaceless. So when we say spaceless, in the sense that space is fluid and interconnected rather than compartmentalized or divided, artificially constructed. For example, in our bahay kubo or in our typical bahay, wala naman hindi katutubo sa atin that we divide the rooms of the house into living room, dining room, bathroom, bedroom. Oftentimes, when you enter a bahay kubo, yung sala, pag tungtong ng gabi, nagiging bedroom. Pag may okasyon or pagkainan, nagiging dining area. So the space is fluid and interconnected rather than the compartmentalized or divided or artificially constructed. Again, what Pastor Ed Lapis did is only an attempt to define the Filipino. Napakahirap i-define ng Filipino, Kasi unang tanong, who is the Filipino? We are 110 million people coming from more than 180 ethno-linguistic backgrounds, living in 7,500 islands, spread across the world pa yung iba sa atin. How would you define the Filipino na may apelidong Kastila, may first name na Amerikano, may gitnang Chinese, mahilig sa spaghetti, kumakain ng pansit, kumakanta ng K-pop, nagpupunta sa McDo, at ano pa ba? Yung ganun, how would you define the Filipino when in fact we are beyond, we cannot be simply defined in, for example, a 30-minute or 1-hour lecture. So again, this is a reminder, ingat, wag man lahat. When I say ingat, wag man lahat, what we did is not to generalize, is not to romanticize. We do not want to generalize na lahat ng Pilipino ganito, and we do not want to romanticize na all Filipino is good and something to be happy about. Kasi we have flaws as a people. The beauty in our examples, the beauty in the examples provided kanina, is the invitation to become students of things Filipino, rather than commit to generalizations using Western thoughts and standards, haphazardly applied to the analysis of our own. And that happened na for more than 300 years. First, under Spanish colonial rule, followed by the American colonial rule and the Japanese, and later on, ginamit din ng mga Filipino scholars yung mga Western standards and thoughts to understand who we are as a people. Para bang you're letting other people define who you are. That's how we are in the scholarship that studies the Filipino. There goes a general critique of psychology in the Philippines. Kasi yung topic natin, Psikolohiyang Pilipino. Psychology kasi is dominated by Western perspective. That's the general critique of psychology in the Philippines. We know names like Freud, Erikson, Piaget, Jung, but who knows a Filipino psychologist? Who knows a Filipino psychologist studying Filipino psychology using the lens of the Filipino, if there is such a thing as Filipino psychology? According to Virgilio Enriquez, the father of Psikolohiyang Pilipino, there is such a thing that is Filipino psychology, and they call it Psikolohiyang Pilipino. Ang Psikolohiyang Pilipino ay bunga daw ng karanasan, kaisipan, at orientasyong Pilipino, and he proposes the study of the different aspects of Filipino psychology. Na meron palang iba't ibang aspeto ang Psikolohiyang Pilipino. This includes kamalayan, diwa, kalooban, kaluluwa, isip, at ulirat. Those are words na profound and meaningful in our culture. Kamalayan, we roughly translate as consciousness. Diwa, kalooban, kaluluwa, soul. Isip, the intellect. Ulirat, yung the part of us that is in touch with reality. Kaya di ba pag sinabi nawala ng ulirat, sabihin nawala ng touch in reality. In our session for today, we take a peek on one of those aspects as an introduction to Sikpil or Psikolohiyang Pilipino. And that is the Filipino concept of loob. Kaya ang aking invitation to all of you, tara sa loob. Tara sa loob ng pagkataong Pilipino. Sabi tao po. Di ba pag kumakatok tayo sa pinto ng ibang tao, sabi natin, tao po. Nagtatawag tayo ng tao. Pwede po bang pumasok? O may tao po ba? When we knock on people's homes, don't we also knock on the pagkatao of those who will open the door? We don't only knock sa pinto nila, but we also knock on the pagkatao of those who will open the door. Don't we appeal to the kagandahang loob of the other in the hope na tayo ay pagbuksan at papasukin hindi lamang sa kanilang bahay, kundi sa kanilang buhay din. The self, therefore, is a space. Ang sarili ay isang espasyo. At bilang espasyo, ito ay merong labas at loob. Because, how can we accept people into our lives if we do not have an inner space, if we do not have an interiority, if we do not have something within? Paano natin papapasukin ng iba kung wala namang loob na pwedeng pagpasukan? That, in Filipino, we call nga loob. Dr. Prospero Covar provided an analogy to understand the pagkataong Pilipino in light of the loob. He compared it to a banga, a jar. In this PowerPoint, makikita ninyo yung manunggol jar. He compared the pagkataong Pilipino to a banga. And a banga has a labas. Diba? You can describe the labas of the banga. Pero yung banga ay meron ding loob. At bukod sa loob, ito ay meron ding lalim. Sa makatuwid, ang pagkataong Pilipino ay merong aspetong labas, loob, at lalim. The labas, that is what you see. That is what the naked eye can see. The labas is what we superficially present to others. Kaya nga sabi natin, panlabas na anyo. Sa Pilipino, hindi ganong mahalaga yung panlabas. Kaya nga sabi natin, palabas lang yan. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito talaga yung kulay natin o hindi ito yung talagang gusto nating ipakita. While the deeper aspects of who we are in the domain of the kalooban. That we will discuss later. The soul, he says, sabi ni Prospero Covar, resides in the lalim or the kalaliman ng banga. So see, the three aspects of Filipino pagkatao. The labas, the loob, and the lalim. We shall focus on the loob as we will discover the other aspects in our next meeting. Now, I want you to focus on the slide with the manunggol jar. The jar, together with the jar, are 4 characteristics of the loob. We will try to dissect the loob. We will try to dissect the loob in the context of how we understand it as Filipinos. Sabi dyan, that the loob is intellectual. Nakapag-iisip. Sabi dyan, the loob is volitional. Ibig sabihin, merong will or the capacity to decide. Sabi dyan, ang loob ay emotional, nakakaramdam. Sabi dyan, the loob is ethical, alam ang tama at ang mali. So, ibig sabihin, the loob is a multi-dimensional space and it is very much who we are, more than the labas that we present to others. Let us start with the loob as intellectual. Di ba nga, when we say, try to think of it, and I would be happy to see if you will comment your answer or your reaction sa comment box natin. Can you give words na merong salitang loob na pumapatungkol sa intellect, sa volition, sa emotion, at sa ethics? For example, pag sinabi nating intellect, yung loob ay nakapag-iisip. Di ba meron tayong words like, ano ba yung sinasaloob mo? Di ba pag tinanong mo isang tao, ano yung sinasaloob niya, ibig sabihin you're asking what the person is thinking about. O kaya, tatanungin mo isang tao, ano ba yung saloobin mo tungkol sa bagay na yan? Ibig sabihin, you're asking for the opinion of that person on something. Pangalawa, volitional. When I say volitional, it refers to will. The capacity to decide. Meron ba kayong naiisip na words na merong salitang loob na referring to our capacity to decide? I will give you an example. Di ba, when we say, sundin mo ang loob mo. Sundin ang loob mo. When we pray Ama namin, ang sabi natin, sundin ang loob mo. Or when we say, loobin mo. Ibig sabihin ng loobin mo, pahintulutan mo. Allow. Or when we say, kusang loob, ibig sabihin, voluntarily. Or when we say na mahulog ang loob, ibig sabihin ay to fall. Or when we say buo ang loob, ibig sabihin wholeheartedly. Buong puso, taos-puso, mula sa puso. Di ba pag sinasabi natin, bakal ang kalooban, ayaw pahintulutan, ayaw pumayag, wala siyang will to allow something. Kaya sabi natin, bakal ang kalooban. Di ba? Yun yung mga pusong bato o matigas ang puso. Or, we go to the next. Emotional. When we say emotional, nakakaramdam. Di ba we have words like malakas ang loob or buo ang loob. Ibig sabihin ng buo ang loob, matapang. Or laki ng loob. Ibig sabihin ma-pride. Or matigas ang loob. Or matibay ang loob. Emotional. Then we go to the last, ethical. When we say ethical, referring to the knowledge of what is right and wrong. Or appealing to what is right or wrong. Kaya sabi natin, hindi maatim ng kalooban. Di ba? Sinasabi natin, pag ang isang bagay, hindi natin magawa. Kasi we believe na ito ay mali. Anong sasabihin natin? Hindi maatim ng kalooban. Loob. Or sasabihin natin, bukas loob. Or sasabihin natin, utang na loob. Di ba? When do we use utang na loob? Utang na loob is not simply reciprocal or contractual obligation to another person. Pagka, for example, sinabi mo, utang na loob, pakinggan mo ako. Kasi pinakinggan kita before. Kaya papakinggan mo ako ngayon. So you're appealing to the utang na loob. Pero, come to think of it. For example, a person does you harm. At yung taong iyon, hindi mo pa siya nakita ever. Anong sabi mo sa kanya? Utang na loob, wag po. Ano utang na loob, wag po nyo akong nakawan. Or wag nyo pong kunin yung cellphone ko o yung gamit ko. Wala ka pa namang nagawa sa kanya before na anything good para magkaroon siya ng utang na loob. Because utang na loob doesn't only appeal to reciprocal or contractual obligations, it appeal to the other and his sense of shared humanity with you. You're trying to remind that person that you have the same humanity within each other. So as we can see, the loob as a concept in Psikolohiyang Pilipino is a multi-dimensional space. It is intellectual, it is volitional, it is emotional, and it is ethical. Therefore, makikita natin that there is a tendency not to compartmentalize thinking with emotion, with will, and with ethics. Kasi di ba madalas masabi natin, sa English, for example, we say, how do we say that? Meron akong naalala na Supreme Court na case, sabi, the heart has reasons that reason cannot understand. May dahilan ng puso na hindi alam ng dahilan. So in that English phrase, ano yung mababanag natin? Na ang puso at ang dahilan ay magkaiba. Pero, in the discussion we had a while ago, what have we proven? That the loob as a space is a place that is both the intellect, volition, it has emotions, and it is ethical. Because in Filipino thought, there is what you call the unity of the self, wherein thinking, willing, feeling, and being are unified in one self. There is a tendency not to compartmentalize. Why? Because we use the same word to refer to all of those four. And what is that same word? Loob. So this is just an invitation to everyone to study ourselves using the lens of the Filipino. batay sa karanasan, oryentasyon, at pagkaunawa ng Pilipino. So, I will ask you to go to our Google Classroom, and there you will be able to find our readings for the next meeting about kapwa and the other aspects of the pagkataong Pilipino. Together with that is an assessment wherein you will write an essay about the Filipino in the context of those readings. Yun lamang, at maraming salamat sa inyong pakikipagdiskurso sa ating talakayan this afternoon sa subject na Disciplines and Ideas in the Social Sciences. Maraming salamat.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo. Sa gitna ng mapanubok na panahon, magkahatid sa kakibat ay diskusyon. Sama-sama tayo, kahit magkalayo, sa programang ito.
Salamat, Ginoong Frederick John A. Macale. Isa na namang araw na makabuluhang talakayan ang natapos. Ito ang Teleradyo Marcelo, ang telearalan ng bawat Delpilarian. Makinig muli sa susunod para sa panibagong pagkatuto mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, simula 11 ng umaga. Muli, ito ang Teleradyo Marcelo.
Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Makinig, manood, nasa teleradyo. Teleradyo, Teleradyo Marcelo.